Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you for inviting us. And I want to say, I want to shout out to Jane because I'm going to be doing most of the speaking today, but none of what you're going to see happens without her in the background, driving the business, driving me, making me better at what I do. And so I want to give a shout out to her. Now, are you going to be spotlighting me on the screen there, Linda, so that they can see the slides and all of that?
There you go.
There we go. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, folks, I've got about 3.5 hours worth of content and about 35 minutes in which to share it. So I'm going to break a whole bunch of speaker rules up here. I'm going to speak way too fast. I'm going to give you way too much information. And at the end of it, I'm going to invite you to join us into something that is going to help you compile everything that we're going to talk about today and put it into practice and bring your speaking and your business to an entirely new level. Now, this is going to require that we all be engaged and that we all participate. So let me get your commitment. Put up your hand like this. If you just put up your right hand, I can see you in the screen, and repeat after me. I promise to engage.
I promise to engage.
Okay, promise to engage. Terrific. Thank you. We're going to start with this. Open up the chat window if you would, because we're going to engage through chat because there's a lot of us in the room. I want to give everybody a chance to answer some questions. I'm going to ask you some questions to get us started today. So take your hands and get them fingers limble over the keyboard, ready to type like this. Okay, and here's the first question. And make sure you are responding to everybody, not just to somebody private in the room. Okay, so here's the first question. Type the word me if you really feel like you want to be paid what you're worth as a speaker. Type the word me. I'm going to guess that should be just about everybody in the room. Good. I'm seeing all the me's come up. Okay, that was an easy question. Here's a little more difficult question. Okay, you want to be paid what you're worth? What are you worth? Think about that. And I'm going to ask you to do this. I'm going to invite you to share in the chat window. You don't need to, but what are you worth as a speaker? So let's see what the numbers are. Now, I'm talking about per speech, okay, per speech. So let's see. I see 100K from Wendy. That's a good number. I like that number. Let's think about it. Per speech, what are you worth as a speaker? Now, you don't have to put that in there, but let's see. I invite you to do that. Get some numbers. Okay, 15K, 20K, 5,000 for Arena K, 15K. Okay, good. And if you're thinking about it, and if you're not going to share it, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. We're getting some more numbers come up. Here's the next question. And this is going to require you to think even a little bit more, okay? Why do you think you're worth that amount? So think about that. Now, you don't have to answer. I invite you to, but I want you to think, why do you think you're worth that amount? And Andrea says, there's no one like me. Okay. Very good. Here are some reasons that I hear, and some of these will pop up. Yep, I'm very unique, and because of my passion. Some people just say, I picked a number out of the air. I have no idea why I'm worth that much. It's just a number. Some people use a calculation of some sort. So let's see, the results of my wisdom. Okay, Sonia, I like that. I'm funny. That's a big one, Lauren. That's a good one. Okay, I promote true action. Okay, got it. So this is the reason why you believe you're worth. Here's my next question, and again, you don't need to answer. I invite you to. Are you actually being paid that amount? Are people paying you 15 grand, 20 grand, 5, whatever your number was, yes or no? Are you being paid that number? So I invite you to answer. Okay, no, not yet. Nope. Somebody is. Okay, Suzanne, yes. Suzanne, if you are consistently being paid that number, then that number should be going up. Not yet. In my coaching business, yes. Okay, Sonia, I want to come back to that, but I'm talking about speaking on the platform, right, or on the screen. So if you see this, most people are not being paid what they think they're worth. And so there are reasons for that. And we're going to talk about some of those reasons today so that you can get some clarity around this. Now, here's the next question, okay? I'm seeing a lot of good answers here, sometimes not yet. I'm a trailblazer and thought leader. Okay, Zandra, great. Thank you for these answers. Okay, everybody take your hands off the keyboard so I don't mix up the responses to the next question. The next question is this. If I hired you to come to my place here and train me one-on-one. If I hired you to spend the day with me one-on-one, and I got your undivided attention for a full day, what would you charge me for that? Let's see, put that number in the chat window. I invite you to do that. 1 day of your time. Okay, let's see, we got 5K. Let's keep going. $15,000. Okay, very good. 35K for the day. 5,000 says Kathy. Okay, good. Okay, now, And we're going to keep this moving because I want to make sure we get everything in. So here's the next question. $2,000, 4.5K. Thank you very much for answering. Fingers off the keyboard. Here's the next question. Okay. Which one of those is higher? Speaking fee or one-on-one? Speaking fee or one-on-one? Let's put that in the chat window. Which one's higher? Speaking fee or one-on-one? One-on-one is higher. One-on-one is higher. Speaking fee, speaking fee, speaking fee, one-on-one, speaking fee, one-on-one. So you see, we're about divided. One-on-one is higher than speaking fee. Some speaking fees higher than one-on-one. If your speaking fee that you have in mind is higher than 1 day of one-on-one with you, I want to ask you to consider this, okay? Why would I pay you more for an hour or 90 minutes to share you with an entire audience when I can have you to myself, private, focused for an entire day? Why would that be? And I don't want, we don't have to dig into this very, very deeply, but I want you to consider this. If you're thinking that you are more valuable on a stage than you are one-on-one, then you're going to maybe want to reconsider some of your one-on-one time. Now, here's the next question. Okay, I'm going somewhere with all of this. I'm going to ask you to think about this one, okay? Here's the next question. The next question is, and I'm assuming you have a program, like a high-end program. In fact, let's do this. I want to check and make sure that I'm focusing for you here. Go to the chat window. High-end program, say me. I have a high-end program, if you would, in the chat window. Me. Okay, good. So good. Lots of us here have a high-end program. Excellent. Good. Now, I'm going to ask you this question. Which is higher, your high-end program or your speaking fee? Which is higher, one high-end program client or a speaking fee for 1 gig? Let's see what it is. Let's pop these up here. Okay, program one-on-one is higher. They're the same, Wendy. Okay, got it. Speaker's fee is higher than your one-on-one. Okay, Indra says the program's higher. And you see, again, we're kind of split. Between the speaking fee being higher and the high-end program being higher. Okay, I'm going to give you a general rule of thumb. This is not a rule that that everybody uses. You might not hear this out in the world, but here is a general rule of thumb for you, okay? General rule of thumb is this, that your high-end program, one high-end client, should be worth about double your speaking fee. Okay, worth about double your speaking fee. Now, that's not a rule that everybody follows, but it's a rule that we follow. One high-end program should be about worth double your speaking fee. So I want you to be thinking about this. Is my high-end program worth double my speaking fee? So that's a place for you to start. Then the question is, how are you going to get that speaking fee? How are you going to get people to pay you that? So Linda was talking about speakers, bureaus, and agents and event planners. I want to talk about that for a moment, okay, because I want to clear something up. But let me ask you this one question real quick. Type the word yes if you believe you have a pretty good idea how speaker bureaus work. Type the word yes. And if you don't, say, not sure. If you have no idea, say no idea. Yes, no, yes, okay, yes, no idea, not sure, yes. Again, we're quite mixed here. Now, think so, not sure. Let me tell you how speakers bureaus work to clear some things up, okay? Here's how a speakers bureau works. So many people are under the impression that a speakers bureau finds you gigs, okay? Speakers bureaus do not find you gigs. Here's what a speaker bureau does. You get yourself on a list. Your name is on a list, and they have thousands of speakers on their list. And then what happens is an event planner calls the speakers bureau and says, I need a speaker with these qualifications, with this topic, with this level of expertise, and I want them to be this kind of a person. And the speakers bureau goes over their list and goes, okay, found one, and there's another one, and maybe put 2 or 3/4 to the vendor or to the event planner, and the event planner will go, okay, maybe I'll pick this one, maybe I'll pick that one. And so the reason why you need to know this is because when you get on the list of a speakers bureau, the chances of you actually getting booked are really slim. The chances of you getting booked regularly are really even slimmer than that. So here's what speaker bureaus do. Speaker bureaus are paid on commission. So you're going to be paying them 25, 30, 35% of your speaker's fee. So they're kind of like banks. in that they generally don't need you until you don't need them anymore, because they're going to book the speakers that command the highest fees. So when speakers are coming in and, and we have no history, we have no background, we don't have any experience, we're not known in the industry, and we come in and say, I want $5,000 because we think that's a nice entry fee, Speakers Bureau says, hey, let's put you on our list. But unless they get a speaker's, an event planner that comes up and says, I want a speaker, a fledgling speaker with very little background, very little history in the speaking business at $5,000 max, that's the way you're getting the gig. And you know how many of those you might get a year? Maybe one, maybe two. Speakers bureaus get thousands of applications every single year, and they put maybe 1% of them on their roster. So the reason I'm telling you this is because so many people come to me and say, Steve, I want to get into a speakers bureau, and they don't really understand what they do. So I want you to be clear on that. Now, I want to tell you a quick story. I was doing an event, it's about 20 years ago, something like that. And a good friend of mine was speaking at the event. And she got up and spoke, and there was a small group, maybe 30 people or so. And something really interesting happened at the end of that event. She spoke, and then all of a sudden, all these people were wrapped around her when she got off the stage. And I saw something that captivated me. And I saw somebody break out their credit card and give it to her. And I thought, that's interesting. So we all went out for lunch afterwards. And so at lunch, I asked her, what happened? What did you do? And she said, I just sold $21,000 worth of coaching programs. And she did it in 20 minutes. And that changed my life. And it came up with this philosophy that has kind of been an important part of my life since then. And the philosophy is this: with something to say and something to sell, you can make millions. So I'm going to ask you to go to the chat window and type the word yes if you agree with this statement. If you think that it's absolutely true, just type the word yes in there. Okay? And okay, terrific, good. Because this is an important word, an important thing. And this is what we're going to talk about today. You see, I want to share something really fascinating with you. You may not know. Only 1% of professional speakers in the world make over $1 million. Now, I don't know if that shocks you. It might shock you. It might not shock you. I'm not sure. But this is an interesting piece that goes along with that. Roughly less than 40% of their revenue comes from speaking fees. That means less than half. The speakers that make $1 million, the 1%, less than half of their revenue comes from speakers' fees. And if they're at that level, chances are good that they're losing 30 or 35% of that to the speakers bureaus and the agents, which means the speakers that we look at, and of course there are exceptions. There's the Tony Robbins and all the others, but even them, they don't make their money from speaking fees. They make their money from programs. And this is what I want to talk to you about today. And because if you're a speaker who's speaking for speaking fees, the average is less than $50K a year. Now, I'm in all the speaker associations all over the world. I've worked with all of them, and I'm telling you, this is it. And so what's so important here is you need to understand what your role is as a speaker. And so we're going to talk about how do you use speaking to grow your business and not just go from place to place to place and try and earn speaker fees. So here's the next question that I have for you. What is your role as a speaker? Let's see what your role is. So think about that and go to the chat window and just mention very quickly, what is your role, your purpose as a speaker? What do you think that is? Let me go to the chat window. And I'm not going to spend enormous amounts of time on this because I want to get a whole bunch of things in here today. So what is your role as a speaker? Let's see, put that in the chat window and let's find out. Okay, connect further with me. Okay, Andrea, very good. Let's see, to inspire, motivate, and educate, to create value for the audience and to connect, inspire and connect, create awareness. Okay, good. All of these, I love all of these. To showcase, motivate, sell, to lead, look at these things, elevate awareness, leadership, knowledge transfer. All of this is good. And all of this will make you a normal speaker. If you're getting on a stage or on a screen, you are expected to educate, you're expected to entertain, you're expected to motivate, you're expected to inspire, to inspire, not expire. You're expected to do all of these great things. That's the baseline. But if you want to use speaking to grow a business, if you want to get into the 1%ers that make $1 million, you have a very, very specific role. And your role is this. Your role, is right here. Stand by. This is your role, is to get them to want to hire you and pay. That's your role. That is your only role. Now, when getting some people saying, in your mind, you're saying, well, Steve, if somebody's paying me to speak, I can't, just sell. Well, that's true. So there are two worlds to speaking. There's the world where you're going to be on the stage because you've been paid to be there. Then all the things that you've listed here in the chat window are the priorities, but they are the priority for every speaker who is paid. And if that's the track you want to take, and I know that there are some here that do, and including one of my colleagues and friends here, Andrea Lee, is chasing that path down, because there are exceptions in that world that people can do very, very, very well. But if that's the direction you're wanting to take, then these are the things you need to do. You need to be motivational, inspirational, educational, funny, all of those things. But if you want to actually make it to the 1%, you got to do more than that. You got to get them to hire you and pay. And the reason why, of course, you need to do that is because if they don't pay, they're not committed. And then the more they're committed, the more action they're going to take. The more action they're going to take, the more results they're going to get. And the more results they're going to get, the more money you can command. So your job as a speaker is to follow a couple of rules. And here's number one, or the 1% profitable speaker rule number 2, is that speaking should grow your business, not your ego. And oftentimes I hear people say, Steve, I'm worth 15,000, I'm worth 20,000. I say, why? Well, because I'm really unique. I have a great story. I'm really funny. I really inspire people. People really like me. All of that may be true, but when we say I need to be paid that because of these qualities, that is pure ego. And I'm, I know I'm getting in your face a little bit, but that is pure ego, and that's all it is. Speaking should grow your business, not your ego. So let me just check this out real quick. Which of these would you choose? You got 3 options. These are the 3 main ways that people get paid to speak. Okay, the first is a speaker fee, and I'm not saying it's a bad way to go. It can be a good way to go, but it's really hard to sustain a career on a speaker's fee. Just ask any one of the 65,000 professional speakers around the world what happened to them the day after the world shut down. Unemployed. Unemployed. Right? The ones who generate business through speaking are the ones that elevated their game. So is that the best choice? Here's the next choice. Option number 2 is what I call spray and pray. Spray and pray is basically where you get in front of an audience and you think to yourself, if I can inspire them, motivate them, educate them, if I can excite them, if I can show them how awesome I am, they're going to hire me. And you do all of these great things, and you think that they're going to hire you or buy your program or put you on another stage. And it's all done. You're leaving it all to chance. Or here's option number 3, is to use a system. And this is what we do, is we create systems, or we have a system that allows people to, to grow their business through speaking. And so I want to see by a show of hands, is anything connecting with you so far? Are you getting some revelations here that will help you so far? Okay, a couple of hands going up. Okay, that's fine. We got a whole lot more to do. Then I got to get somewhere. Okay, I want to walk you through something called the 1% Speakers Code. The 1% Speakers Code is, I'm going to explain it to you in a moment, but it's all about how you position yourself. So how you position yourself starts this way. Let me get rid of my little second video there. I'm going to grab my high-tech technology here. Okay, can you guys see that okay? Thumbs up if you can see that okay? Okay, cool. Okay, how do you position yourself out there? So here's what that means. This is a tool that I developed sometime many years ago called the Repumeter. Now the Repumeter, what it does is it marks your position in the mind of your audience as compared to all the other speakers, or even in your market as compared to your competition. It's about how does your market think? When they see you, when they think of you, what do they think of in compared to your competition? And there are 4 milestones on the Repumeter. And the first milestone is what I call obscurity. Now obscurity means that in the mind of that audience, or in the mind of the market, they don't really know who you are. They don't really know what you do. And so you know you're in obscurity when these things are happening out there in the market. That proverbial phone isn't ringing. People aren't calling you and saying, I want to work with you. You're not getting a lot of traction on your social media. People aren't coming to your programs. They're not buying your books. You have to fight to get clients. And in obscurity, it's like, if they could just see me, if they could just experience me, if they could just see what I can do, they'd want to hire me, they'd want to talk to me, right? And so you feel like you're the best kept secret. And it's frustrating because you feel like if they could just see what I can do, they would want to hire me. Put up your hand, how many best kept secrets are there in the house? How many best kept secrets? We have a couple of best kept secrets, not many? Okay, good. So here's the next spot. I see some heads nodding up and down. Here's the next spot. You get through obscurity, and if you do a few things right, you get to this spot called competitive. Now, competitive means you're in the game. It means that people generally know who you are. They generally know what you do. But there's nothing that really separates you from everybody else who does what you do. You are one of the speakers who inspire, one of the speakers who motivate, one of the speakers who tell good stories, one of the speakers who make them laugh, one of the speakers who make them cry, and you're in this category of many. And so they would look at you and say, oh yeah, she's one of them. And so you become where you, in order to get attention, you start doing things like discounting your fees, or you start throwing in bonuses, or trying to elevate their perceived value so that they choose you over the competitor. But in the audience's mind, you're kind of like, oh yeah, one of them. And then if you do a few things right, you get to this spot here that I call branded. Now, branded means that you're starting to get some attention. People are starting to look at you and starting, okay, maybe there's something different about this one. Maybe this person is a little bit different from the other speakers I've heard. Maybe this one's different from the other programs I've been to. And so you might start to get more social media activity out there in the world. People start coming to your programs, maybe buying your book, watching your videos. And the problem now, and after you speak, people will come to you and they will pat you on the back, and they will give you a standing ovation, and they'll tell you how awesome you are. You've changed my life. What a great message. You're the best speaker I've ever heard. And then we start thinking, all right, it's about time they're starting to see my greatness. Then what happens is they walk out the door and you look at your bank account and it's exactly the same place it was yesterday. So you're getting all the accolades. You're getting, even maybe getting the speaker's fees. You're getting all of these things, but you're not advancing your business. You're not advancing your finances. And we mistake being noticed for being chosen. And where we need to get to is over here at what I call the one, where you are the only logical choice. And so what gets you in here? What is this big gap here? The big gap that's in there is a system. It's a step-by-step process so that you're not doing it by accident and you're not being paid for the privilege of being on the stage. You're actually building a business. You're actually growing your finances, growing your business. And so let's take a look at this a little bit here. So one of the things that makes up a system are these. I'm going to share with you 4 tips, and if you get nothing else out of today, these are really good things for you to get. Okay, so here they are. Here is what I call the 1%ers high impact speakers code. The high impact speakers code is this. It's 4 guiding principles that position you as the one in your field where everybody else is talking about the same thing. Because I can guarantee you that whatever your topic is, there is somebody else probably in this room who does something similar. And so what are these 4 things? Here they are. Number one. Number one is you need to develop an original message that is pertinent, persuasive, and profitable. Key words in there are, number one is original. This is a big challenge for people. What have you got that is yours, that you created, that is your intellectual property, that nobody else is presenting the way you are? And the message needs to be pertinent, which means it needs to be relevant to the times, relevant to the organization, relevant to the audience. I'm speaking to you about how you get paid higher as a speaker. It's relevant to you. That's why you're here. It's persuasive, which means you're going to change the way the audience thinks. You're going to rattle their beliefs a little bit. I know a couple in here, somebody's just went, boom, nugget, Suzanne, boom, I changed the way that she thought. I changed a paradigm for her. And it needs to be profitable, which means at the end of the day, it needs to be something that people are willing to pay for. So that's the principle number one. Here's the second guiding principle, the original, what I call impact triggers. Impact triggers are these little bits of wisdom, brilliance, boldness, and these are things that make people go, oh wow, okay, that was important. Make people go to the chat window and write boom, that's what you need. And so I've got a whole bunch of these impact triggers, but again, original impact triggers with something to say and something to sell. You can make millions. That's my impact trigger. Speaking isn't about a transference of emotion. It's speaking isn't about a transference of information. It's about a transference of emotion. That's an impact trigger. What impact triggers do you have that are original, that make people say, oh, I remember who said that? And then the third one is to showcase your original brilliance, your original boldness, and your original breakthroughs. There are things that you've learned through your life. There's knowledge you've curated. There's, challenges that you've overcome, mountains that you have climbed that have taught you things that most of the audience hasn't been taught before. That's what they want to see. They want to see something original so that when they leave that room, they can attribute it to you. That person taught me that. Right? And so if it's not original, all you're doing is reinforcing things they already know. So I want you to be asking these tough questions to yourself and try not to kid yourself. It happens all the time. We have this little ball of wisdom that we have in our hand, and we get stuck. We get stuck right inside this ball of wisdom, and we kind of go, yes, it's unique. Yes, it's proprietary. Yes, it's exciting. Yes, it's cool. I want you to take your mind out and look at it from down here and ask yourself objectively, is it really different? Is it really unique? Is it really mine? Is it really something that people are going to be able to latch onto? And use your objective approach to answer those questions. And then the fourth piece of the code is this. You should have an original 60-second positioning statement. That's when somebody comes and says, what do you speak about? You're not going to say leadership. You're not going to say the law of attraction. You're not going to say health. You're going to have a 60-second positioning statement that actually compels them and makes them go, oh, that's kind of interesting. That's what you're after. These are the four major keys that separate you as a speaker. And so I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back to the chat window and I'm going to ask you this question. Okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, after this discussion, scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel that you fit in those four guiding principles? Overall, maybe, just a general scale, 1 to 10. How do you fit into these four guiding principles? Let's see. Wendy says 6. Okay. 8.5, Laura. Good. Okay. Excellent. 8, 7. Good. You guys are scoring high. Okay. Terrific. 7, 7, 7, 5. Okay, great. Now your job is to take the 8.5, the 5, the 7, and you need to elevate that to a 10. It needs to, so the more you are complying with these principles, the more you are going to get paid what you're worth. And the thing that I want you to know in your mind is you're not going to get paid what you're worth because you say so. You're going to get paid what you're worth because you don't establish the worth. Your market establishes the worth. You see, it looks like this. This is how most speakers do it. So what Jane and I have found as we travel the world, we found that most entrepreneurs who are us, speakers, coaches, authors, consultants, experts, thought leaders, us, most of us are driven by three primary motivators. And the first primary motivator is what I call a mess. Now, a mess is something big that has happened to you. Maybe it's a big story. Maybe it's a catastrophic event. Maybe it's something you were born with, mountains you've had to climb, some barriers you've had to crash through. And it's a big enough mess in your life that it has set the trajectory of the direction that your life has taken. Now, some of us have that, some of us don't. You know if you do, you know if you don't. And that's the first one. Now, I don't have what I would really call a mess, but I know some people who have been through very catastrophic things. They've lost limbs in accidents. They've been gang raped by motorcycle gangs. They've, done all kinds of big messes. So maybe that's you, maybe it's not. If you don't have a mess, maybe you have what I call a moment. Now, a moment is a moment in time when you sort of realized what your gift is or what your purpose is or what your passion is. Somebody in the chat window said, I'm worth this amount of money because because I have passion. Having passion is great. It's terrific. It's not really something that people are going to pay you for. So, a moment in time is where you went, I'm good at this. This is what I'm good at. I have this. I have a moment in time. My moment in time, I won't tell you all about it for time's sake, but My moment in time happened, I was about 20 years old. And my gift that I found is I can take people and put them on a platform, put them on a stage, and pull magic out of them they never knew existed. That's my gift. So I have that moment. Maybe you have a moment or a series of moments where you realized, I'm good at this. I want to do this. This is where I live. This is why I'm here. Maybe you have that. So maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have a mess, and maybe you don't have a moment. And if you don't have a mess or a moment, then you probably have one of these. I call it a mission. A mission where there's a bigger cause in this world that you want to evangelize. There's a major change you want to make. There's some way in this world that you want to leave it better when you leave than it was when you found it. So I'm going to ask you to do this. Go to the chat window, and I don't need to know where you reside here. I just want to know if you can relate to one of these. Just yes or no in the chat window. Can you relate? Okay, all three. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, looking at all the yeses coming up. This makes good sense, right? Because most of us fall into one or more of these categories. Then here's what we do. We take our mess, moment, or mission, and we turn it into our message. Now, that doesn't always mean that we talk about the mess, moment, or mission. We might, but generally what we do is we take the lessons that we've learned, the wisdom that we've curated, the ideas that we've developed, and we take it to the world and we say, here's my message. Or we make a business out of it. We have a business because of these. But because we're talking about speaking, we bring our message to the world. And we say, let me tell you what I've learned. Let me tell you what I've developed. Let me tell you the skills I have. Let me give you the value from all this experience through my message, and we take it to the world. So let's go to the chat window and let's separate the chat. Type the word me if that's you. If you're doing that, if you think that's, because that makes sense that we would do that, right? So let's see who's based, who's speaking is based on their mess, moment, or mission. Type the word me. Okay, good. Let's see. Okay, lots of me's coming up. Me, 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 me. Okay, very good. And everybody who is thinking me or said me, that is what's going to prevent you from getting into the 1%. That's what's going to prevent you from getting paid what you're worth. And here's why. Because as speakers, coaches, authors, experts, thought leaders, consultants, we're generally after the same thing. Some combination of these things. Influence, income, or impact. Okay? We want to influence people. We want to inspire them. We want to change the way they live. We want them to be better. We want to be paid handsomely to do it. And we want to change the world in some big place. And for some of us, there are different levels of priority for those. But generally, this is where we want to go. And so the reason why you'll never get above this line is because that's where 99.9% of all of your colleagues, all of your competitors, all of your friends in this game, they're doing exactly that. And so you'll see that the space gets narrower near the top. And so the question is, how do you get past this? You get past this by stop doing what everybody else is doing. What's everybody else doing? I've got this big story and and people should pay me to tell it. I've got this gift and people should pay me to deliver it. I've got this mission and people should pay me to tell them about it. And that's what everybody is doing. So it's a crowded space. In this case, it's really crowded here at the bottom. So how do you get past this barrier up into here? This is where you have a specific system that is designed to not to get you higher speaking fees, because it's unsustainable for most people, with the odd exception. And I know I have a client and friend here, Andrea is with us. She's working really hard at getting those speaker fees, and she's going to get them because she's a great speaker. She's got a great story, a great message. She's worked really hard at developing it. She's going to get those great speaking fees. At some point, Andrea, as most of my colleagues have, they're going to say, I need to not have to rely on a speaking gig to live. I need to have something else. I need to have a program. I need to have online courses. I need to have something that people can pay me for that doesn't require my presence on a stage. And that's how you make it into the 1%. And in order to get past this barrier, you can't just say, I've got a course. I'm a coach. I'm a consultant. I've got these other things to sell, because now you're going to do this. I'm going to tell them about my mess, moment, or mission. I'm going to give them a great message. And if they really like me, then they're going to hire me. That's spray and pray. You see, so there's a very logical approach here to make all this happen, and that's exactly what we do. We have the system that we've designed. Let me get here for you. And it's called the Profitable Speaking System for Entrepreneurs, and it's designed exactly to build this gap. This is what we do. And so before we're going to go into Q&A. I'm going to give you a chance to ask all the questions that you want to ask about the content we've done today or about the speaking business. Anything that I can help you with, I'm going to help you with it. So we're going to spend a fair amount of time on Q&A and give you a chance. But before we do that, I want to invite you to something very quickly. We are holding a 3-day virtual event, and it's called the Profitable Speaking System. It's 3 days. It's September 16th, 17th, and 18th. It's virtual, so it's all done on Zoom. It's $97. Like, it's a really, low price. Let me give you just a snapshot of some of the things that we're going to be covering in this 3 days, and then I'm going to give you a chance to ask all of your questions. So here's some of the things we're going to cover. We're going to talk about strategic storytelling. Put up your hand if a speaker coach has ever told you you need to learn how to tell stories. You need to tell stories when you speak. Put your hand up and let's see. Every speaker coach in the world tells you that. Here's what they don't tell you. You need to choose the right stories. You need to tell them a certain way to take the audience to a specific desired outcome. You see, most people, unfortunately, traveling during that time. Okay, Indra, we're going to be doing this probably again, but, anyway, what you could do is you could join at a VIP level, which I'll talk to you about, and get the recordings. However, back to stories. Most speaker coaches, I got to tell you, it really bothers me. And it bothers me because they're teaching people to get on platforms, to get on screens and tell stories that entertain, tell stories that inspire, tell stories that inform. And yes, all of that is good, but what they are not teaching people is how to select the stories, how to craft the stories, and how to strategically tell them to bring the audience on to a specific point. And the point is, I think I'd like to talk to that one. That's the point. And so we're going to show you how to strategically tell stories. We're going to talk about the different kind of offers that work from a stage. If you're getting up there and you're selling a $50,000 coaching program, that's probably not going to work from the platform with a group of entrepreneurs. So we would find out what your situation is and what kind of offers really sell well from the stage so that you can use speaking to grow your business, and all of this without doing like a big fancy high level, high pressure, sales pitch. I'm showing you our program here. There's no pressure here today, but I am going to encourage you to register with, a nice little bonus if you choose to join us. We're going to talk about how to price your offers, how to package your offers, how to deliver your offers without feeling like you need a shower afterwards. So we're going to show you how to do all those things, and we're going to show you how to construct your talk around the offer. And so this is another thing that so many speakers miss an opportunity. They'll get on the platform and they're okay to try and sell their programs and they want to do that, but they don't know how to craft the talk around it, because what we do is we take our moment, our mission, we share our message, and we hope it inspires and motivates and enthuses people and encourages them, but we don't know how to craft the story, don't know how to craft the talk around the offer. And so that's what we need to do. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about platform skills. We're going to talk about platform skills that you use on screen, platform skills you use on stage. If you're live, we're going to talk about that. How do you use the real estate? How do you engage an audience physically in a room? How do you really leverage your personality, your body language, all of those things on the platform? And if you're on a screen, how do you effectively use a screen? And it's not about being perfect. I mean, look at me. I'm not perfect. I'm just stumble here and there. It's not about perfection. It's not about being slick and smooth. It's about a strategic, tactical approach that engages. Okay? And so we're going to show you how to do that. We're going to talk about where to find speaking opportunities. Now, here's the thing about speaking opportunities is the reality is they are absolutely everywhere. Unless you're wanting people to pay you for them, then there's not as many. Because that whole bottom part of this triangle, all of these people right here, they are all looking for paid speaking gigs. And they're out there, but it's really difficult unless you are profoundly unique. Andrea has the advantage of being profoundly unique. She has the advantage of having dedicated herself to the perfection of her message strategically. Chances are good she's going to be great. She's going to present something different than anybody else is presenting out there in her space. But if you can't do that, it's going to be really difficult. So we're going to show you how do you actually differentiate yourself. How do you stand out in a market of sameness? Because again, I'll tell you that most people are out there speaking about what you speak on. Not most people, but people in your niche, they are, speaking about the same topics or very similar topics as you do. And then we're going to be doing a lot of laser coaching. We're going to bring people onto the screen. We're going to laser coach you with your story, laser coach you with your offer, laser coach you with your platform skills. We're going to laser coach you with all of these really cool things. And then we've got these guest speakers. We've got four, I think we have 4 of them lined up right now. And here are some of the topics that the guest speakers are going to be talking about. They're going to be talking about how to be your own bank. This one guy he's going to talk about how do you, once you start making money as a speaker, how do you keep it, right? Instead of throwing it all away on taxes and expenses, how do you actually keep that money? We're going to talk about, one speaker is going to talk about how to use YouTube as a profitable speaking strategy. Very fascinating. And then we've got key strategies on how to run your own event. These are all going to be on there. So I'm going to put the link in the chat window for you. Let me just grab it here so we can put this in. Hold on. I'm just trying to find the right link. Here we go. I got it. I'm going to put it in the chat window. If you'd like to join us and reserve your spot, it's $97. It's pretty easy. Hang on. I just want to get this to everybody. There you go. You can follow that link. And so we're going to have 2 bonuses for you today if you choose to do this with us. And here they are. The first one, we call it a fast action bonus. We're going to do this. I have one of our highest selling courses called the 1-minute keynote template or a story template. How do you craft a story that you can deliver in 1 minute that is actually strategic in nature and drives people to thinking, I should talk to that one? How do you do that? And speaker coaches aren't teaching this, and I don't really know why, but there it is. We're going to give you this template. It's an actual course, so there's video there teaching it. It's a fill-in template, and this is a live thing where it's virtual, but I did it on Zoom like this, and I taught it, and I recorded it, and give you the workbook so you can have that. And so let me just get back up here. We're doing one more thing special for you. If you were to register today, we're going to upgrade you to VIP. So VIP means that there are extra sessions, there are networking events there just for VIP. You're going to get a workbook that the VIPs get. You're going to get the recordings that you can keep, and you just get a much higher level of participation and service. We're charging $295 for VIP, but we're going to upgrade you if you choose to sign up, but just because we want to honor Leadership Global and we want to make sure that we provide exceptional value to this amazing group. So 2 bonuses for you. We're going to upgrade you to VIP, and we're going to give you the 1-minute story template. The 1-minute story template we're going to be sending to you manually. So when you sign up, you're going to be taken down a path that will give you the free VIP. The 1-minute story template we're going to deliver manually. Okay, so the link is there. So now, we've got a little bit of time left. I want to make sure and give you can ask us, between the 2 of us here, we're going to answer all your questions. I'm kidding. There you go. What questions do you have that I can answer for you? And what I recommend you do is just put up your electronic hand, which should be at the bottom of your screen, or if you can't find it, just kind of wave like this.